Hi, I'm Dave Vickers and welcome to The Photo Show. In today's episode I sit down for a chat with photographer Eric Hands to talk about his work and photography in general. Remember, if you like what you see on The Photo Show, please comment, like and subscribe in the boxes below. I'll now leave you with the very capable Mr. Hands. Okay. Brilliant. Thanks for doing this.
You're welcome.
You're a complete star. I just wanted to start off, where did photography start for you? What was sort of your first?
Oh, I suppose like most of us at a certain age. My dad.
Right. Yeah.
And you know, the suitcases full of holiday snaps and the endless procession of broken folding cameras with names like Penguin and stuff.
So that's kind of what you like. So did your dad just do it for holidays, or was it like just more of a hobby kind of thing?
No, I mean it was mainly holidays,
right.
But you know that's the way it was then.
Yeah.
You know, everyone worked 98 hours a week. And,
true. And so, what did you then sort of like pick up the cameras at? What sort of age were you starting when you started taking photos?
My dad died when I was 9, and I suppose it was inevitably one of the things that kind of connected me to him.
Yeah.
So I bullied my mum into buying me a plastic 1 6 camera from Woolworths.
Oh right, okay, yeah.
So so my first shots were probably like the very start of photography. You know, the blurred train going across the bridge, and all that kind of stuff.
But this is it. So you just photographed stuff you were interested in.
Yeah.
Just
you know, and it sort of. It ebbed and flowed from there, you know, went a few periods without touching a camera for years. And then finally one day I was looking for a job, and I passed this strange shop in a back street in Fulham that sold sewing machines,
right.
But also seemed to have a little photographer's business as well.
Okay.
And they wanted a shop assistant. So I applied and got the job, and then you know.
So
I started taking photos again.
Okay.
And learned how to.
So were you working in obviously you were working in the camera side, not the sewing machine side?
Yeah. I spent a few years sort of happily taking pictures again, and then stopped, and then I got a good job at one point and couldn't wait to spend my first month's wages on a Praktica Super TV.
Oh right, so that was a weapon of choice.
So that was that was my first decent camera.
Yeah.
And again, you know, I took loads of photographs for about 6 or 7 years. Stopped. And didn't take any for about 20 years. This time round, I haven't stopped. You know.
So it's only sort of in the last, what you saying, 20 years that you've come back to it? Were you saying?
Well, it is really, yeah. I did a course at Lambeth College.
Right. Okay.
At South Thames College. In '98.
Right.
In sort of media, and that include. Well, actually, that meant I spent most of the time hiding in the wonderful dark rooms there, reprinting all of the negatives that I'd taken back in the late '60s. You know. So that was fascinating.
No,
and I kind of haven't stopped since then. You know, with various degrees of success.
Because if from all the photographers I know, I think you post more photos than anyone I know. You're much more prolific than.
I'm not sure if that's a matter of. What is it, quality and quantity?
No. Like I said,
not for me to say, but yeah.
No,
sometimes I think, I'm posting too much.
No. Like I said, I love. Like I said, it's part of my day now to see what you're.
I'm glad it gives somebody pleasure.
But going back to the first when you were shooting film back in the '60s, what sort of stuff was it still just stuff that interested you, or was there commission stuff as well, or was it?
I was working for Private Eye magazine.
Right. Okay.
Not as a photographer initially, as a sort of part-time bookkeeper, and then the job kept growing, and there were a lot of interesting people around then. It was very. I wanted to kind of capture some of that zeitgeist. So.
For sure, yeah. I mean, because that's kind of the you're talking about Peter Cook, Jonathan Miller, Willie Rushton. And so, how much of that did you do you think? Is there a lot of that you captured? Do you think, or is it just sort of? Is it?
Yeah, I'm quite happy with what I've got from that period.
Right.
Definitely, and there's been a few exhibitions and whatever, and
Okay.
some of the shots are with the National Portrait Gallery in the
Really?
archives. Yeah, so
I didn't realise that.
so in a way that was
So how did that come about? How did they end up in the National Portrait Gallery?
submitted them.
It doesn't mean they're going to be accepted, though.
They were accepted, yeah.
Wow. So what ones
So,
are they?
so they're in the archive,
Yeah.
basically. Just shots of sort of everyday life, really, at the Eye.
Wow.
Sort of people in the
I didn't realise
editorial
that.
office, and
And what has it? Do you used to own the copyright of that, or is
Yeah.
it?
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
they do.
So they've got it in the archives,
Yeah.
but you own the copyright.
yes, because I wasn't paid to be a photographer. That
Right. Yes.
99% of the although I did occasionally do the odd official shot for sort of book covers or
Yeah.
a bit of advertising in the mag or whatever, but most of it was fly on the wall.
Because they weren't really known for their photo features. Right?
That's right.
So what about? With the sort of the archive stuff you've got at the private eye time, is there any plans to do a book or anything of it?
I've been asked, but no, I don't know. I find myself sort of putting it away and think I'll bring it out again in 10 years' time, because I think the passing of time just makes it even more interesting.
Well, this is one. I think this is one of the things I absolutely love about photography. Is you take photos from any they don't have to be professionally taken. Sort of, I look at my wife's family from Ireland in the 20s and 30s.
Yeah.
One of them had a camera, and there's photos of it there. And then technically they're not brilliant photos,
Yeah.
but as a time capsule to look back, and even from my childhood, I look back at photos and the cars, the clothes, the tone of the picture. It's such a timepiece.
And we have the negatives, and we have the prints or the ability to print. What concerns me now, with everything being on digital, is I wonder just how much of that stuff will be around and accessible in 30, 40 years' time. Will it be thrown away on memory sticks? Will it be in a format that we can't read?
It's a very good point.
Will it have been fried in a meteorite explosion or something?
Well, you say that about the format thing, because it's sort of I sometimes go and photograph these things where they're burying time capsules.
Yeah.
It's kids doing it for a school thing, and nowadays they're putting in a USB stick with sort of all the stuff they put in it, and it does make you wonder, sort of in 30 years' time when it's dug up, are they running around now looking for a computer that will take that?
Yeah.
And it's a very good point. Because this is it, the negatives. Even now, sort of, you've got the technology's moved on where you can scan. You don't have to go back into the darkroom. You can scan the negatives and.
Well, when I was at college, that was my first introduction to the digital world. Not that I was using a digital camera,
but
I had a scanner.
Right.
I'm buggered if I can open half of the files up, half of the things that I scanned then.
That's a good point.
And I can't remember what I scanned them at. And I kind of look at them now and I think, what the bloody hell was I on? But that's how I was told to do it.
But that's also,
and I can't read the buggers.
But that's also what the technology was then, though, as well, isn't it? I remember I look at digital cameras now. I was doing a job. It must be late 80s, early 90s, and it was a press job. And the guy from the Daily Mail turned up. And it was the first time a digital camera had been used for a newspaper thing in this country. Mm-hmm. And it was a Nikon body that Kodak had put the stuff inside that linked to a suitcase on the side. Yeah, I think it might have been a 1 megapixel shot that could come out about that big. And I look at that there to now, and it's
like,
mind blowing.
It's like the early mobile phones.
Oh yeah. No, I look, even the ones I've got, Hello. Hello. I've got to admit, I don't miss. Yeah. I don't miss being on a job and looking at the camera and going, "This has got about 10 minutes to go, and I've got 4 frames left.
Yeah.
Is it worth putting in another film?"
Yeah.
That fact that you can just shoot on.
Yeah. Although on the other hand, it's nice to pick up an egg and
the tactile side has
I
got.
can see what's on it.
Yeah.
I don't have to find a computer.
It's got a number. I know it's got a number. But yeah, I mean, no, I agree as well. And that sort of, I suppose the one thing I do miss is that moment in the darkroom
Yeah.
when your negs are first done and you first pull them out to see.
And the smell.
I went into a darkroom the other year, and it was like a memory wash. It was just yeah. So did you do much printing and darkroom stuff? Or?
Yeah, I used to love it. I mean, I was never one of these kind of master printers who
Right.
could take 4 hours doing one shot. But yeah, I mean, it's on my sort of bucket list, is it?
Do you want to go back
for
and-
something to go back to? Certainly, if we move and we've got more room, I would love to have a dark room, particularly now because you can pick up top class enlargers and stuff for tuppence.
Yeah. Yeah, that's.
So,
I mean,
that would be fun. Yes, there's something very contemplative about hand printing. It's a beautiful thing to do.
It is an art. Yeah, this is it.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
so. Yeah, I was really lucky. The guy that taught me now works at the Imperial War Museum, printing their archive stuff, and so which is where I started off, sort of 14, 15. That's where that was my.
Amazing what you can do with a bit of cardboard and a piece of bent wire.
Oh my hand! Yeah, the shapes I could pull with my hands. That meant something so much different then. But no, it's I admit I do miss that side of it. I don't miss spending my life in the dark
No.
printing.
And I've still got half a dozen film cameras, and ashamed to admit I can't remember the last time I put a roll of film.
I can't
through.
remember the last time. I mean,
I've got film in the fridge. I've got film in a box under the stairs. I've got. Digital retouching's easier. Like,
when I first looked at Photoshop, having sort of been in the dark, worked in the darkroom, when I first looked at Photoshop, I was like, oh, what is this? It was like, hang on a minute, well that's that, and a lot of that sort of those skills transfer across. But that said, then sort of what you can do now. But then I'm not sure it's, I think the limiting fact of sometimes you've got too much choice.
Yeah. I actually find it very easy to resist buying the latest package, the latest upgrade, this, that and the other, because basically I do very little that I don't think I could replicate in the darkroom.
Yeah, I agree. I've got no. I mean, I think it's one of those programs where it's like the multi-pointed pen. You can do whatever. If you want to use every aspect of it, it's in there. If you want to, I don't do any sort of. I'm not comping more than 2 images together. I'm not doing that kind of thing at all. Yeah. And it is. I think I use it very much like I would use a darkroom.
Yeah. I mean, I have to say I rarely even do that. I'm still. I think it's a bit of a. Maybe it's an old film user's mindset, really, that if you can't get something 3/4 decent in the camera, then move on. Whereas I've known people who've come to photography purely from the digital era, and they will just sit there and attempt to make silk purses out of
cow's ear. Yeah, it's cow's ear. Yeah,
cow's ears all day long.
Which is no. I mean, this is it. I think that as well. I think the fact that I came from the film days. If you got it wrong, you got it wrong.
Yeah.
And
it's a great discipline.
Actually. It is a great,
and maybe that is the big plus of encouraging as many people as possible to start with film, to understand.
Yeah,
it's a good way to understand light and.
And I think you're probably right. If someone's got to a point of interest with digital photography where they're getting it, they should go and shoot film, because it does that limiting factor and that sort of you've only got the one ISO.
And it slows you back. It slows you right back down again as well. It is a more contemplative kind of.
Yeah.
Well, certainly, in an amateur use, I think yes, you probably worry twice as much if you're using film commercially, because you can't see the bloody thing.
Well, I suppose when I was shooting film commercially, I hadn't seen the other option. Yeah. So you were kind of that was. You lived and died by that, and everyone ballsed up.
I know. Yeah, I've never forgotten a couple of times, and film camera failure, of course, happens to all of us any time.
Yeah.
I unfortunately ballsed up a shoot with Jane Fonda, but I mean it wasn't like a sort of sort of photo shoot style thing.
Yeah.
She'd actually come to address a sort of mini political rally in London.
Oh, okay.
And I was
Yeah.
kind of on the inside of that at the time.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was. Farm workers of Nicaragua or something.
Yeah, so, yeah.
But indirectly through some rather political friends I knew, I got involved in that, and I went along to this thing, and I took a camera, and the camera broke halfway through, and I didn't have a spare, and this, that, and the other. But more pertinent to the conversation was I did a bit of a society wedding once, and took the roll of colour film, or a couple of rolls of colour film, round to a very well-known camera shop in the West End.
Okay.
At the same time as a gaggle of Chinese tourists. And of course I went back a few days later to be presented with a couple of packs of photographs of Tower Hill and yeah.
Oh no. Yeah, I've not.
And luckily, just luckily, I'd taken another camera and shot in black and white.
So you had double. Yeah.
Which is not always something I do, you know. I know it's something one always ought to do, but you don't always want to lug another camera around.
I think that pressure, you had to be on your game.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you didn't know what you were doing,
Yeah.
sort of, you know, technically wise,
Yeah.
then you were going to come unstuck.
Or,
Whereas I think nowadays you can.
or remembering to rewind the film before you open the back.
That's another. Yes, yeah, we've all done that. I'm not. Yeah. Oh. Everyone knew that noise. Whenever you were working somewhere, everyone knew that noise. You were shooting stuff at the private eye, and it was just for your personal, or were you sort of aware that you were recording a time? I mean, were you aware?
I was really.
Yeah.
You know, I wish now I'd been a little bit more technically adept then, but you know, it's easy to say that, but in a way that doesn't matter because, so many of the people have gone on to the great
Yes, yeah.
beyond.
Yeah, I've got the confession to make that I think I actually took one of the last photographs of Peter Cook, and it was an odd thing. I was photographed for London Transport to photograph people leaving when Oliver came back as the stage show.
Yes.
And I was asked to sort of catch anyone that was on getting the tubes off, and Peter Cook was there, and I photographed him there, and I think he died the week after.
Yeah.
Which is really, it was really sad. He's one of those people I'd love to have photographed properly.
Yeah.
Rather than sort of,
Well, I suppose looking back, I kind of feel a bit the same myself. You know, I wish I'd spent more time taking portraits of these people rather than.
But I think it's always going to be the case. You're never going to be 100% happy with the stuff.
Certainly, some commercial work came out of the stuff I was doing when I was at the ICE, and book covers and things like that, and I had some stuff in the New York Times, which is great. You know, it's
right.
It's
Okay.
All right. Done nothing else, but I did have a photo in the New York Times.
So what was it? What kind of photo was that?
But that was a private eye picture.
Right. Okay.
You know, and I was asked to shoot something especially for them, which I did.
Yeah.
So that was quite good, and.
Have you still got that? Have you got the cutting, or have you?
I might have. I don't know. I might have. I mean, I've still got the photo. I know the photo. I know the photographs of it, but and I started submitting stuff to photography magazines in the days when photography magazines
were king.
Yeah. Yes. Never did quite get into creative camera, But yeah, I sort of fairly regularly seem to have either some photos or an article about photography or something in magazines like sort of SLR Camera and Camera User.
Yeah.
Although I think that, you know, with the digital era now, that has kind of slipped a bit. I can't remember. I've got thousands of photographs of the picture library, and that whole scene has just died a death, you know, and it used to be a very regular earner for me, but I refused to actually sign up to the dime picture libraries which have replaced them. replace the more traditional model.
Because is it? I mean, they have. I mean, that kind of side of it has been made. They're like penny shares now, aren't they?
Yeah,
the price they're charging for stock photos.
Well, Getty started all of that in the first place and that was with the advent of digital, simply by introducing the subscription service, whereby a magazine or a newspaper would pay 50 quid and could use any picture they liked out of any picture on their pages as many times as they liked for 6 months or whatever, but that's the general idea.
And it does
but
devalue
of course
it.
It's completely devalued it. And now, to be honest, I would rather give a photograph away than sell it for £1.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, no,
I'd rather not have the work if that's what.
Yeah, no, I can see, and I think it's one of those things where the world's changed, and the model of how things work has changed, and it's bad. And I definitely think that photographers have got the raw deal out of that, because like I said,
all creatives.
Yeah,
actually.
I suppose.
It's not just photographers, designers. I've got
music industry. I mean, music industry as well. I think everything sort of and I think it's that thing that.
Although we have to beware of being like the designer when Letraset was introduced. Oh my God! This is the end of design as we know it.
A 4-year-old child could rub a cowboy onto a scene. God, Letraset. That's such a... Oh God, that's taking me back.
But of course the world's turned now, and now you go to the Science Museum and it's build your own camera.
Yes.
Out of cardboard.
Yeah. There seems to be there's sort of the two sides of it, and there's sort of the film side has sort of become more of a leisure specialist thing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? In the same way that it's a weird equation, but sort of how the introduction of the motor car made the horse become a leisure thing. Sort of film photography is I don't know of anyone that's shooting professionally now on film.
No.
I always go back to sort of the David Bailey thing, where they didn't want him to shoot on 35mm.
Yes.
So he shot on 35mm and then copy negged it onto medium
yeah,
format, so they didn't know.
Yeah.
I mean, is sort of the full frame thing now the new medium format? Is that are we going to start getting like magazines saying, oh, we want it shot digitally, but it's got to be full format?
Yeah, I can't see the pause.
Yeah.
But to us, leaving aside pure commercial work that you do just because somebody's paid you to do it, and there might not be much emotional input in it, but your personal work, there is an emotional input, and I can't see that, as they now call it, pixel peeping, where you're scrutinising every iota of stuff on the frame. Doesn't necessarily guarantee you a better or a more interesting or
I agree.
more emotive.
I agree 100%. This is and I think there's a lot. You read all the forums and you read sort of stuff, and so much of it is on looking at camera reviews, and you sit there and someone is streaming off a list of its functions and it's this and that, and it doesn't matter. It's unless you live with something and work with it day to day, and know its foibles and know where its strengths are and its weaknesses.
But kids, buy a good lens.
Yeah, buy a good lens. Yes, good. Yeah, you buy a shit camera, buy a good lens. No, this
the size of the sensor, not the amount of
and it's
crap that's squashed into
I think it's also the bloke stuck on the other side of it.
Yeah.
So going back to that, so was there any photographer sort of that you looked at early on that you sort of admired or liked or?
Well, I suppose the well-worn photographers that everyone loves, from sort of Cartier-Bresson, Brassai.
Yeah.
Brassai, however you pronounce it. So, even sort of the glamorous sweeping people, like Cecil Beaton and whatever.
Yeah.
You have to admire them, because they were all mould breakers in their own way, and they kind of push things.
I think this is what you look at them now sort of as a classic, but you underestimate the level of skill they were at.
Yeah.
In the Cecil Beaton kind of stuff. The level of skill it took to get those images with the equipment they had in those days.
And the amount of persistence they had to get them accepted, because all of them were taking stuff that was new ground.
Yes, yeah.
So, yeah, particularly. You mentioned Bailey earlier. I mean, I know there was quite a lot of sniffing at Bailey for some time, sort of.
Yeah.
But actually, as you said, he would bluff and con his way to where he got.
Yes.
But you can't do that without some raw basic talent and eye and vision
and that also that's sort of that type of images he took then. People are still doing it now.
Yeah.
People will still try and replicate that kind. You look at someone like Rankin. I think Rankin is the direct pass on from sort of what Bailey did back then. Plain background. Hard in. It is interesting. But this is it. The modern. I'm not seeing. I'm looking for the new photographers.
Yeah.
I'm looking around, and
I'm not looking hard enough, I don't think. But yeah, I can't say that a great deal of contemporary stuff has impressed me. I do look occasionally at the latest award winners.
Yeah.
And sounds like a sad old git. I'm invariably depressed.
I'm saying that, but I'm wondering if that's always been that though. I mean, would Bailey, would Cartier-Bresson, would they have won? If they'd entered into the what is it now, the Deutsche Bank, or whatever. If they'd submitted into that, would they have won it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's unlikely. I think sort of what people. There's the other question as well. Sort of, do you find that with your work, what other people like is completely different from what you like? If people look at your images, is there one that people tend to like, and you go, I don't understand why they like that, or you prefer something else?
It does happen. It does happen. Invariably, one has one's favourites, and and you can put them up, and nobody says a single thing.
But
and sometimes equally, it seems that I have this two-edged thing about my archive stuff.
Yeah.
In that sort of, I know that if I put a picture up of Peter Cook or something, shitloads of people will.
Yeah, because of the subject matter of.
They've seen it 50 times before.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you do want somebody to get excited about something you did yesterday.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the advantage we have as photographers over musicians. We're never going to go out and people just want us to play the classics. There's always a chance that tomorrow you will take the better.
Take us that old photograph.
Show us that one again. But no, I was saying, sort of looking at your work. I mean, sort of, like I said, I've seen both sides. I've seen sort of the stuff you've done from Private Eye, but I love the street stuff you do. And especially the stuff where you're using shadows and silhouettes. That's to me is the kind of side. And that's sort of one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you about, because they're sort of some. You say you haven't seen sort of photos. Some of your photos are some of the ones that I've seen that really make me go, that take me back a step, as that is a class photograph.
Funnily enough, they're the kind of shots that I sort of almost don't notice. Maybe because they are so bloody instinctive. It's not a case of, I'm going to go out and do this, I'm going to go out and do that. That really, I think, is where the subconscious clicks in, and you find yourself taking photographs without even noticing almost. And that's particularly why I love sort of maybe spring and autumn most of all.
Right.
The long shadows, the golden light,
Okay, yeah. So I mean, when you're going out to shoot the ones, I mean, I'm particularly, I don't know if you'll probably, talk to him. We'll show some of the pictures, but the shot you've got of it's the silhouette of the woman in the car with there's the blue shutters behind. Shall I show you the one I mean?
Yes.
All right. One second, I'm just going to show Eric his photos.
That wasn't me. That was Henri Cohanders.
That one.
Well, yes, I do love that collection.
There's
It's one of the few stuffs. I mean, it obviously has been manipulated a bit, but having said that, it was just such stark, beautiful, bright sunlight.
But this is it. I mean, yeah. I mean, the silhouette aspect of it is everything. That's what I'm saying. The silhouettes are so crisp.
Yeah.
That's one aspect of it. I'm just telling you why I think it's a brilliant photograph. That's one aspect of it. The technical side of it is brilliant. The fact that you've also caught a moment with the woman's hand, in a timing sense,
yeah.
and because there's like a sense of story. Something's going on. She's talking to somebody.
Nothing's manipulated there. That is exactly the scene is.
And even I was looking at, when I was looking through your stuff this morning, I was I just wanted to pick out a few of the pictures of your stuff that to me really stand out.
Oh.
But that one, it ticks so many boxes because, like I said, not only the technical aspect, the timing aspect of it, but then the framing, the fact that the roof of the car sits directly with the bottom of the blue shutter.
Yeah.
Then the blue shutter itself, it's almost like a modern art piece in one photograph. It's a.
I must admit, obviously there's a little bit of burning in gone in on that, and contrast work, but no manipulation of anything in the image.
Right.
But I think when I first looked at it after taking it, I knew there was something graphically exciting there. Yet it's one that I kind of keep forgetting about. So thank you. For
it's like it reminds you of
it. But yeah, I took that in Shoreditch, and I was just literally on the way home from work one day, and the light was fantastic.
So what
and there was a traffic jam.
Oh, okay.
Hence why and the blue shutter and this stonkingly bright shaft of sunlight on that part of the street. So it was really, I'm very drawn to that.
Yeah.
And yes, I mainly play with shadows, but in that case, it was the silhouette aspect.
And was it were you just standing waiting for the world to line up within the frame you liked, or was it just are there a few frames and that's the one that?
If I remember, and it's a technique I often use, the car was stuck in the traffic jam.
Right.
So I had the car, I had the shutter, and then waiting for people to walk through the frame.
Yeah.
Which is, as I say, for street work, that's often what.
See, this is the thing, because I think this is where a lot of people misunderstand what street photography is. Because I look at other people's street photography. You go on Flickr and something like that, and type in street photography. And people seem to think it's wandering around, and it's not really.
Swinging a camera?
And just and shooting and hoping. And like I said, someone like Cartier-Bresson, who also his street stuff, people seem to think that he just happened across these things,
or did he, as I might have done, think that's a fucking interesting street corner.
I'll wait
and just waited to see if anything happened.
See, I mean, is people watching part of it, or is it?
Oh, definitely, yeah. I'm curious.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Not by curious.
No. Turn into a whole different video.
No, I'm nosy. I'm curious. I always have been, and. Also, I think maybe it's part of being an only child in a way. That's,
right. Okay. Yeah, it's interesting.
You're looking out for your stimulation, rather than.
That's a very interesting.
Always having a brother or
analogy.
sister to beat up. I never really thought about it like that, but I just wonder if. You spend an awful lot of time on your own. So you sort of.
You're looking for a stimulus. I can see that. But it's nice to see. This is what is really nice. This is to let people hear that beyond the point when you can technically take a photograph, something else happens. once you get to a state, I see a lot of things of people trying to learn, how to, there are a lot of videos on, I'm guilty of doing them myself at the moment, of teaching people how to technically take a photograph. But I think it's
the bookshelves are full of it, aren't
they?
Groaning with,
for sure. But I think sort of you get to a point when you can take a photograph in any situation. You've got enough in your armour, in your armoury to say, I can do this, and do this, and get it to happen quickly. And after that point, it gets interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's when you start. You're actually taking photographs rather than making photographs. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah. I mean, an awful lot of people get into photography for a specific reason. Some people just snap away on holidays and holidays. Yeah. But other people will, or always traditionally, have started taking photographs for a specific job, for a specific, to record their hobby, or these days, I suppose, they'll buy a decent camera to take pictures for stuff they're flogging on eBay or whatever.
And
sometimes that gets into a deeper interest. But I'm quite fond of sort of mechanical things, but not to the point that I think I'd be remotely interested in photography if it didn't have an emotive.
For sure,
quality. And that's why now it doesn't. I've been through this thing about worrying about whether I make any money out of photography. I don't, and I don't care.
So
I've gone through that. I've got over that. That hoop a bit. It's sort of, yes, it would be nice, but I don't think nobody's rung me up and offered me a sail around the world commission.
But you're getting the satisfaction of actually doing it for yourself, photographing what you want to photograph. And is a question, sort of looking at a lot of your work, are you happier viewing from a distance to photograph people or interacting with people?
Oh, I can do both.
Right.
I can do both. But I'm not one of these sort of modern American in-your-face flash photography, street photographers.
Yes.
I think you have to have a certain amount of sensitivity, and also be a bit sneaky as well, But I think I can put myself in the other person's shoes, and I think to be over intrusive.
Yes. No, I mean,
maybe I'm more sensitive to the physical intrusion than I am. I'm more prepared to take the photograph than I am to actually go right in front of them upset their day.
Yes.
I don't see the point.
Like I said, you're not fussed about sort of whether you're paid to commission. You do photography. Are you just happy now just to photograph what comes your way?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm once again back to the old thing of rarely going out without a camera.
Right.
However, I don't feel the obsessive need I did probably in the 60s or 70s to take a camera to every social event.
Yes.
And I found even then it then soon became a case of, you have brought your camera, haven't you? And the minute people start to say that, you think, I bloody wish I hadn't now, because I'm perverse like that.
No,
I mean, I rarely go out. I rarely even walk the dog without a camera in my bag. And subject matter will be anything from a drop sweet wrapper to a pastoral scene or a street scene that I know you like looking at.
I love, like I said, the reason I wanted to do this.
And the poor dog, still.
So, I mean, if sort of people want to see you, are you quite happy sort of people to come and look at your Flickr site or things like that?
Yeah,
I mean,
of course, yeah.
But you're not sort of interested. I mean, if commissions come that way,
I wouldn't put it up.
Right.
If I didn't want people to see it.
Fine.
Don't like my stuff to be ripped off.
No.
No. And I think that's a two-edged sword, really. This whole question of the internet, and equally, I would say, don't put your stuff on the internet unless you're prepared to face the chances that it can be.
It can,
actually be ripped off, but you limit it by not putting high-res images on.
Yeah, you were doing exhibitions. Is there sort of any plans of exhibitions?
No,
again, or
no. Well, yes. I hastily remembers. No, I just suddenly remembered that I did cancel an exhibition which I was due to have in a cinema in North London last summer. This last summer, but that was simply because of recovering from hospital and stuff.
Yeah.
And I just didn't want the extra hassle of having to worry about it.
True. Yeah.
And I hadn't completely decided what it was going to be on anyway. No immediate plans. But offers welcome.
Anyway, if anyone wants to do an exhibition, Mr. Hands is available for.
Pick your subject.
Pick your subject, and he'll shoot it.
Yeah.
Brilliant, Eric. I think we've probably come to our time.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're a complete star. Thank you very much for doing that. Brilliant.
Embarrassing.
Oh, I didn't tape.